the 9 Patchalong 5.0. This is block number 8. We're almost all the way to the end. Anyways, today we're going to be quilting using this Way 5 machine quilting ruler, also this Way 4 machine quilting ruler, and of course, you know I love to use the blue Mark Be Gone marker for my markings. Whenever I'm marking, I, like anybody else, love instant gratification. So once I've finished one block, I will use my misting solution, which consists of 1 cup of water, usually filtered water, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I mix it up in our Peace and Quilt misting spray bottle and then mist it on my block right then. So often my markings will actually sink down into my batting. So when my quilt is drying, sometimes those markings will reappear. Always just continue misting and misting and misting. Sometimes you might even need to soak your quilt if you've gotten it really heavily marked. Just make sure that you do not apply any heat at all until those markings are removed 100%. Anyways, let's get back to the fun stuff and let's get stitching. Welcome to the 9 Patchalong 5.0. In this series, we'll explore 9 unique 9-patch machine quilting designs, perfect for quilters of all skill levels. To get started, you'll need a few essential materials and supplies. We'll be using the Sway machine quilting rulers available at peaceandquilt.com and marking our quilts with the blue Mark Be Gone marker. To remove the marks, mist the area with a solution of 1 cup water and 1 teaspoon baking soda, repeating as necessary until the marks are completely gone. The batting we will use is Quilters Dream Wool, and the threads are So Fine and the Super Bob bobbins. All of my quilting is done on a Gamble 22-inch machine, stitching in the stitch regulated mode at 13 stitches per inch. Each design is taught by me, Natalia Bonner, using these machine quilting rulers, ensuring you achieve the best results. Quilters of all skill levels and machine types are welcome to join, but you must have a machine in good working condition, a basic knowledge of ruler quilting, a ruler foot, and base plate. Additionally, the piecing pattern and design workbook for this series are available for purchase at peaceandquilt.com. Let's get started and create some beautiful quilts together. This block is so much fun. I love that it kind of creates like a medallion or like a flower in the center. I'm going to start out using the Sway 5 machine quilting ruler and quilting some curves. So all of the Sway machine quilting rulers have the circular end on them. The circular end is designed for machine quilting perfect circles. So it's whichever side is indicated on the ruler. Here is the 5. That means it's designed for machine quilting perfect 5-inch circles. You could go through and mark out this design before you started if you want to. If you look closely here, you can see that I actually did mark out the design because I wanted to know what it was going to look like. So use that hook end of the ruler and you can start out and mark all of this out. You can also use your companion design workbook as a reference point. On the center of that circular end of the Sway 5 machine quilting ruler, I am lining up that straight line that's marked right through the center of the ruler on top of my ditch. From there, then I'm quilting almost a half circle, stopping with my needle in the down position, readjusting my ruler, and then stitching that second half, almost half. I can't call it a full circle because obviously you can see here that the edge of the block does cut it off. So I'll stitch those first 2 circles. You'll notice how I'm using the ditch as my place to travel from one to the next. Now I've worked over to the side of my block and I'm ready to start on my 3rd circle. So you can see here that I have marked out that circle. Because I've marked out that circle, it makes it so that I can use the concave side of the ruler, hold that just 1/4 of an inch away from where I want my thread to intersect, and then stitch that first side. If you've not done any markings though, you can simply use the markings on the machine quilting ruler, hold the ruler right on top of the seam, that center line on the ruler right on top of the seam or the ditch, and stitch my circles. So I'm going to be repeating this process, working my way around the outside portion of this block. So a few tips to remember when you are doing machine quilting with machine quilting rulers. Gentle pressure. So as I'm holding my machine quilting ruler on my quilt, I am using gentle pressure to hold the ruler, but I'm also using very gentle pressure to engage my machine and glide my machine around the outside of that circle. I have found that I have better, more smooth results if I use really gentle pressure and go a little bit slower when it comes to machine quilting with rulers. I feel like if I'm using a lot of heavy pressure, then my lines, they just kind of start to get wonky and they're not as smooth. So always remember gentle pressure. So I've worked my way all the way around the outside of the block, stitching those circles. However, instead of stitching my final circle, I'm going to be traveling down that left side. I'm going to stitch starting on the left side. So pay close attention here. Starting on the left, I'll stitch that top point to point curved line. But I'm going to stitch to the point where my thread will intersect my previous circle. Now at this point, I'm going to stop with my needle in the down position. Now I'm going to switch to my Sway 4 machine quilting ruler. At this point, if you've not done any marking through the center block, go through and mark a T. You want to have that perfect center point marked. I'm now going to use the concave and the circular end of the Sway 4 machine quilting ruler to stitch point to point curved lines, creating a melon right in the center. You can see it's not actually the full center block, so I don't want to do this first. My stitching from this melon is stopping when I run into the stitching on those 5-inch circles that wrap around the outside of the block. Now I will complete that center melon block using the Sway 4 machine quilting ruler. At that point, now I'm going to switch back to the Sway 5 machine quilting ruler where I can complete the stitching on that final circle. So now you can see how I was able to machine quilt this whole entire adorable design using just 2 machine quilting rulers and never stopping and cutting my threads. Now if you love the look of instant gratification, you can go through and mist everything away right now, and you could also go through and stitch in the ditch on this block if you wanted a bit more stitching. You could also add more fills, but personally I actually really like this block the way it is with maybe a little bit less quilting. So I am going to complete the stitch in the ditch around the outside and then move right on to my final block in the 9 Patchalong 5.0.